to make sure that our farmers are protected. Finally, I see you are a member of the selection panel of the Azimio Running Mate selection panel. That, and I'm asking this question because it would have a bearing on your decision-making abilities and capability. Do you think you made the right decision in your running mate decision in Azimio?
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mheshimiwa Majority Leader, Mr. Kimani. Now, on procurement on relief foods. Actually, the procurement process does not really have to be specific to the relief food. Procurement processes under finance are very clear, they are well stipulated, and the procedures must be followed in the sense that if a particular government, a particular institution would want to feed the people, and you've decided on a particular product to take to the people, what you do is you just advertise as it's been, you do all those procedures up to where you award the tender to distribute. And now, after that, by the trickle down and up effect that we are saying, let's incorporate the communities down and then influence what happens here, originating from them. What we will do, we will produce a list of the potential beneficiaries or those ones that need to be helped or to be cushioned from the drought. Then those ones, lists that informs those that will benefit. Because the story to do with whether food reach the people or not, it's sometimes the making of the careless people because they think God in heaven is not watching. It is just good to be truthful. When it is time to feed the people, buy the food, make sure it reaches the most vulnerable members of the society. So for me, the procurement process is still as it is in the other ministries, in the other public finance management acts.
Chair, maybe before she moves away from that question, Beatrice, particularly what I want to hear, I don't know if you have been briefed from the ministry, what happens? In the procurement of relief food, they will usually go to some organization called the supplies branch. They pre-qualify people as suppliers of relief food with set prices. Then when they are procuring, they will usually just give tenders to those who are already pre-qualified within the system. But from the time the supplies branch is pre-qualifying people, the prices given vary. For instance, a bag of maize or beans a year ago or 9 months ago may not be the price today. What I want to hear in terms of getting value for money for the people of Kenya, will we continue with the same old system through supplies branch, or will you come in with new thinking to make sure that the procurement process is very transparent, you are able to match with the market prices? Because there's no reason buying a bag of maize for 6,000 shillings or when the current market price is 4,000 shillings, simply because the people who are pre-qualified by the supplies branch were pre-qualified at a time when the prices were 6,000. That's what I would want to hear. What new innovation, what new thinking are you bringing to the ministry?
Thank you, Mheshimiwa Kimani. My understanding is...
Let's address them through the chair.
Through the chair?
Yes.
Through the speaker?
Yes.
Sir. Okay, I get you. Now, I think what we need to do is, of course, there are malpractices that people have gotten used to. And having been a relief monitor, the process are very clear, just like the way we would procure. Of course, there is pre-qualification. But again, value for money should be informed by the market prices, such that you don't bring people that escalate or put the prices up for other value, yet the market price does not go along with it. I think if I'll be approved by this committee, I'll make sure I'll be myself present in terms of, if this is the pre-qualification, what is the market price, so that we get value for money. And then on the side of trade, whether I have knowledge of trade, through the chair, through the, Mr. Speaker, sir, and I'm used to, sorry. Mr. Speaker, sir, I would want to say that maybe the issue of trade is not really captured in my CV, but I can assure you I'm from Turkana, where we ourselves trade with the community from Sudan, which is part of the state member of AU's EAC, and we've also traded with a community from Uganda, which is also a member state of EAC. So when it comes to trade, there are two ways of doing it. One, There's that one of barter trade where you are like commodity are exchanged for other commodities. There are also where monetary currency is involved. So, but sometimes even as we speak of procurement being having variance in prices, I still believe even in the trade, the commodities that are brought, we must also study, because this commodity is not centralized in a place. It is all agricultural, sorry?
Nominee.
Yes, Speaker.
You didn't get his question.
Okay.
East African community, like all other regional trade blocs, trade is governed by rules. It's not about getting a bag of maize and cross to Sudan and come back with a cow, or vice versa. It is a trade regime that is complex, dealing with customs, movement of goods, who produces what, who sells what. And when the East African community countries come together, they formulate rules that govern how we trade with each other to give advantage to everybody. So his question is, your CV doesn't have anything to do with that kind of regime. If you are find favor with the committee and get this office, how are you going to handle East African affairs, knowing, and this has come up before, that Kenya is a poor negotiator at the table of trade with its partners, that we have that history. What are you going to do to improve our bargaining chip at the table of trade negotiations? That is the question that the majority leader was asking you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I will answer that. Anything that is falling under...
Speaker, probably even just to put it in layman's terms. For instance, between us and our neighboring country, Tanzania, there are onions that come from there. The people of Loitoktok and Kimani are growing onions. But because of the EAC common markets, we don't levy duties on products coming from, no taxes are paid on products coming from Tanzania. We also take our products, like you are saying, you take your products to Sudan without paying duty, they bring their products without paying duty. But we need to protect our onion farmer in Loitoktok and in Kimani. And why we have failed as a country is because we don't negotiate properly at the EAC Council of Ministers to protect our farmers, because it's possible to exempt and say for this particular product, our country is disadvantaged and we need to levy duty so that what is coming from Tanzania becomes more expensive to protect our local farmers. It is that, what I wanted to know is, what would you do now to negotiate better? Do you have the appropriate negotiation skills to go and negotiate for Kenya?
Through the Speaker, actually, what is happening normally when the two parties that are supposed to be enjoying their own sovereignty are involved, what you do, you really have to have the skill of communicating, negotiating, consulting, so that at least you come to an agreement on give and take. Because I personally feel there's nothing impossible when the willing hearts sit. And of course, we already know so much of what is happening in the world has come out of negotiation, consulting, reviewing. So if I happen to be appointed to this docket, that will be my work. I will make sure the partners, my equals in those countries, are able to agree. We can share the report, because I know we are beginning from somewhere. We are not starting from a plain ground. Actually, we will have the concept of what may have happened, and then we discuss based on that to do give and take, so that our own customers, our own, because of course something, when a product comes cheap, it is good to their customers, but bad to the producer who is doing the same locally. So what we need to do is, we need a situation where the producer does not take advantage of the consumer, and the consumer as well do not suffer, but again are able to accommodate and get these products at a price of give and take. And for Kenya, definitely being a Kenyan representative at that time, if that time come to pass, then it will be my role to get into the trade, negotiate with those people, agree, of course, as consulting also with our own farmers on something that we will put on the table as they put theirs. So we agree finally on what the policy that would govern that free trade without disadvantaging any part of the country.
Your questions?
The one of the Azimio is left.
Yes, go ahead.
Through the chair, through the speaker, that was then. That was then that I was among the panelists that were able to choose the deputy party leader of our party person then. Actually, you know, sometimes you work things as they appear on the table. I did fairness. Every party that was there had their representative. They had their candidates also wanting the same. So there was no way I would take over. It's only issues that, as you said, issues on the table. We agreed, and we said the parameters of somebody who would suit a running mate should be like this, and those are the binding grounds through which people were vetted. And the person we got had what it took, because it was not the Hodiam that picked, it was all political membership that decided the vet. I was only one person from Hodiam, the rest are from the other representative of the parties. So I tell you, whatever happened, happened because there were benchmark through to operate. I was right at that time.
In any case, it was a political decision.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, Junet?
Mr. Speaker, just to add to it, actually, I'm the one who appointed her to that committee. And I was satisfied with her work. She did a fantastic job. But anyway, that's beside the point. No, Kalonzo was going to become the president, up and belly. Anyway, Mr. Speaker, that is not the issue. I want to ask her, as somebody who has lived in Asol area, and you know very well that people in that area, as the Deputy Speaker has asked, have suffered for many years. And most of the time, they complain that they don't get any help from government. But today, you have been nominated from an Asol area to deal with those issues that affect those people who come from Asol area and from regions that feel marginalized in this country, despite devolution being in place and counties being in place that money is devolved. What different are you going to do if you are approved by this committee to help those people who live in the Asol areas? And secondly, you are going to become, if you are approved, the Minister for the East African Community. And you can see the community is growing. It used to be 6 in number. I think now they are 8 or something. DRC has joined. Somalia has joined. How are you going to harness the potential in that community, which now has close to 500 million people in terms of numbers? How will that be, helpful to you if you are approved as a minister by this committee? Thank you very much.
Through the speaker.
Go ahead.